Thanks, Kath. Morning again, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for the second District Council of the 21-22 Rotary year. We've covered off our meeting etiquette for this morning. I particularly appreciate you being here because we do seem to have had an early summer come across us, and we never know how long that's going to last. So it's particularly appreciated that you're joining us here this morning for our online District Council meeting. I'll introduce speakers as we go through the agenda this morning, but everybody on the call is very welcome. Kath, do we have any apologies? Kath, do we have apologies?
Sorry, Heather. Yeah, we've got apologies from Central Buchan, from Perth Canoe, and a personal apology from AG Brian Stewart.
Okay, thanks for that, Kath. A few people have just joined the call as well. So I'm just, in fact, one of them is from Aberdeen Balgownie. Tom's just coming in. So I know that was one of the clubs that you were checking for. Sorry, folks, the administration of this when it's a voting meeting is not easy. So for those who've just joined, if you have the voting rights for your club and you haven't actually put your club name in the chat, could you do that now, please? So that we've got a note of the clubs who are present and also the clubs with who is representing the club in terms of voting rights. That'd be fantastic. I think that's our last bit of admin. Hopefully that's everybody popped on. So very warm welcome as well to those of you who've just joined us. So first item of business this morning then is, gosh, I can hardly believe that the last District Council meeting was the 26th of September 2021. The way things are going just now and the way that time seems to warp since lockdown, that just seems like a lifetime ago. But our last District Council meeting was on the 26th of September 2021. The notes of that meeting have been circulated with the papers for this meeting. We recorded the meeting as well, and the link to the recording is in the note of the meeting. So I am really looking for a confirmation that that is an accurate note of the meeting. So if we can have someone with an electronic hand, please, to propose the note as an accurate record of the meeting, and someone to second that, please. So I've got John Glasgow of West Hill proposing the minutes, and someone to second, please. And Ken McLaren, DGE Ken, is also seconding the minutes as well. So thank you for that, much appreciated. Okay, so we had a whole range of someone else coming in just now, Kath, Robert Burns. So we had a whole series of reports which came out in advance of the meeting, which I hope everybody's had an opportunity to look at. We don't have anybody who authored any of these reports needing to add or clarify anything in relation to their reports. So I would propose that if anybody has any comments or questions that you would want to put in relation to any of the reports or to the authors of the reports, now would be the time to do that via electronic hand. And otherwise we'll move on to the next agenda item. I'll give you a little moment to find your hand, just in case. I'm scrolling through. I don't see anybody. I'll just double check the chat. Okay, I've got one now. I've got Tom from Aberdeen Balgownie. Do you want to unmute yourself, Tom? What can we answer for you?
Sorry, it wasn't actually a question. I was looking for the hand and
that's okay. Good news, Tom, you found it.
Yes, and very nice to see you, by the way.
It's very nice to see you too. And you realise when you put your hand up, you go into the kind of the uppermost left-hand corner. So now everybody has had the pleasure of your smiling face on a Saturday morning. Well done. Thanks for that. Fantastic. Okay, so I don't see anybody else with their hand up. That was a little bit unnerving there. Ken, did you just spotlight me now? I can only see myself. So moving on then, because I don't see any other hands up. I will move on to the next agenda item, which is the district budget. Ewan, would you like to make some introductory comments as the district treasurer on the report, and then we'll open it out for comments and questions.
Yes, if Ken will let me share my screen, I'll okay. So you see that some budget notes there. You should all have received these budget notes and also the detailed numbers as well. And I'll just review them fairly quickly. As we all know, the COVID pandemic means that the crystal ball that I have is not crystal clear, and so there's a scope for us getting numbers wrong and potential for future change. But we have put the budget together on the basis that we'll resume majority of district business with some face-to-face and some online meetings for next year. So looking at the incomes or income items in the budget, we're proposing that the district dues will be zero for a further year, rather than the any payment of club capitation to district. We receive a district grant from, as does all districts, and ours is actually the largest amount in the UK because of the size of the district. But at this time and in every year, the actual final amount isn't decided, finalized at this time. However, we've assumed, or I've assumed, that the budget number will be 17,500, which is a reduction from 18,650 that we're receiving as district grant currently. The actual amount will depend on approval of the plan, Rotary GB&I plan and budget at the May annual business meeting. And also there'll be a final adjustment based on numbers of clubs as of the 1st of July this year. So that number can vary, of course, as well. And the final income item we usually have is a youth competition fee for clubs that want to participate, but we're not going to be making a charge for clubs to participate in the youth competitions in the coming year. So looking at the expenditure items, budget is including DG, DGE and district office expenses for the next year based on a mixture of physical meetings and online meetings. And so for those two groups of expenses, we've put in 6,000 and 7,500. We're expecting that district meetings, road shows will mostly be online, but we've put in £2,000 there. The district handbook is primarily going to be available to everyone via the DMS system, rather than, as we have been previously doing, posting out physical copies of them. So there is the possibility of printing a very small number of copies, but that's not going to be the normal way. It's an online item. District IT support, Zoom license, MailChimp, etc. We've got 1,700 in there. For public image, design and printing, possible work there, and 1010 Vision, we've got £3,000 in. And continuing the matched grants for clubs projects for PI, we're increasing the amount up from 250 of this year up to £300 per club, and we've put a total of 3,000 in there. Similarly, there have been membership grants, matched grants this year that a number of clubs have also applied for, and we're increasing that amount up to a maximum of £300 per club. And there are new grants for new clubs at £500 in each club. So we've got a total there of £6,000 for membership items. On Rotaract, Interact Rotary Kids Support for Young People, we've got £3,500 because we want to continue and increase our support to young people. The environmental grants is a new item for the coming year, and this is proposed in as £300 per club, and there's a line of there for £3,000. The area training and health checks, partly online, just 1,500. And youth competitions, including primary schools quiz, 8,500. For the conference subvention, anticipating face-to-face and online a hybrid district conference next year, £8,500. So the sum total of the reduced incomes and the total of expenditures is projected to result in a deficit of £45,000 next year, which would reduce the general reserves to be £4,000 above the £58,000 that is the normal reserves that are agreed. Does anyone have any comments or questions on the draft budgets proposed before we put the motion to approve the budget?
Thanks, Ewan. Do you want to stop sharing your screen? And I can see that PDG Ron McHale has raised his hand for a question. Ron, do you want to?
Yes, could I? It was, and thanks, Ewan, for your report. Thanks, DG. I was just interested in the money that we give to Rotaract, Interact, and Rotary Kids. What do they spend that on, and how do they apply?
Well, we've spent it on a range of things. I mean, one of the things has been support for tabards for Rotary Kids, Ron.
Right. Okay.
That's one of the things. Other expenditures have been on supporting, especially Rotary actors to attend district conference. That's the sort of areas that we've been covering, but it's been fairly wide ranging. Okay,
I was more interested in sort of Rotary Kids. So I take all schools that have Rotary Kids, the teachers there, for example, or the Rotarian who's involved would know how to make an application for a grant.
Yeah, well, I would think that the opportunity for the support from Rotary Kids is being promoted through the youth team. Okay. And the Rotary Kids leads and those who are involved in the district and supporting Rotary Kids are obviously involved in developing any new clubs or supporting existing clubs, Ron. So that would be the way in which we would, we'd make them aware that the resources were there and available. 2 seconds, because I've got some more questions. Is that all right on your question, Ron?
Okay, yeah, thank
you. Thank you. So I've got Irene. I've got Irene Walker from Kilryman St Andrews as well. Irene, do you want to unmute yourself and come in?
Yeah, I am unmuted, I hope. Yeah, I was just keen, Ewan, to try and understand your explanation of the district handbook, mainly online and just printing a few copies, I think is excellent. Am I right in thinking, though, when you come to the 1010 Vision magazine, you're still going to print a lot of that and it's going to cost 3,000? Is that not going to go online, or is it online?
You're right, the 1010 Vision is entirely online.
It's entirely online?
Yes, yes.
So you don't send it out? Or
no,
okay, right.
No, we don't.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. It gets sent out monthly via MailChimp. Irene, is the way that we get the 1010 Vision out to everybody, but no, we don't print any copies at all.
Okay, right. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Hilary?
Good morning, everybody. Can I just clarify how we apply for these grants, say for youth?
Well, grants, I mean, the main grants, Hilary, are the PI, the membership, and the new one will be environmental. At the moment, there is, well, as you know, you've applied for a, you've already applied for a PI membership and received a grant, haven't you, with Ison Valley? And it's expected that the rules for the environmental grants will be issued in, well, sometime when we've got before the end of this period, so that it's people and clubs know what's required to obtain a grant for an environmental item. What else were you thinking of, Mary?
Well, I was just thinking that it hasn't always been clear how we apply for the grants. So as you know, for the PI membership grant, we landed up writing to different people and eventually discovered how we could apply. So I'm interested in the Rota Kids and Interact grant, and I would like to know how I apply.
Okay, well, what we'd publicised in the past was that there would be an allowance for Rotary kids tabards, support for that. I don't think we've got the detail for the other items at this stage, and I think that's an item you're just going to have to hang on for.
I mean, maybe I could add something here, Hilary, because I think the point that you're trying to make is perhaps there's not the clarity that there could be or there should be about how clubs actually access these resources, and so I think that's a point well made. Of course, the idea would be that any queries in relation to youth would be directed to the youth lead, in the same way as that would apply in relation to any of the other team leaders within the district support team. And in fact, I was just confirming with Sheena that is in fact what already happens in relation to accessing these grants. That said, always looking for constructive feedback. So the 10-10 vision is going to remain our way to get messages out there about information, including how to access these resources. So one of the things that we can certainly do in the next edition is to clarify in relation to youth how people would actually go about doing that. I think for me, the really important thing is that we're kind of investing in what the key priorities are, and hopefully supporting clubs to do that at their own hand too, you know, holding down, you know, the club fees to zero for the third year. And as you said, because you know you've applied for the public image grant, these are £300 a time, and it's literally, as you know, Hilary, it's just a small paragraph. So I'm pretty confident that, you know, it'll be equally as unbureaucratic to access resources for these other key priorities, if that's reassuring to you and everybody else. But I do take your point about clarity. But I also hope that people are recognising the opportunities to access funds from district to support club level activities in relation to the key priorities, which for me is a really important thing, because that's where Rotary happens at club level. And if we're not being as clear about how clubs access those resources, then that's something we'll take on board and have a look at. So thanks for raising it, it's much appreciated. Now, do I see any more hands? I do. Brian from Kinross, please.
Yes, no, thanks. It's great that we have the district dues coming as zero again, but this is if I remember right, the second year that we've reduced reserves quite considerably. How longer can we go on reducing reserves and end up with no fees?
Well, my crystal ball really isn't crystal clear on this for how long. There is so many variables at the moment. I really don't know. I mean, obviously we have got £58,000 as the agreed amount for reserves, and as I said at the end there, that if the expenditures and incomes come in as I'd put them forwards there, then we would still have reserves £4,000 above the 58, so we'd still have £62,000 of reserves. but it would be more than surprising to me if exactly every one of those numbers work through next year precisely as they're written there.
It's a really good point, Brian. I'm smiling to myself because I've not been in Rotary quite as long as lots of you on this call. But I do remember that my first district council, the debate was about the fact that the level of reserves was so high. so you're making me smile this morning. So I do think it's a really legitimate point. I think what we're doing with the budget generally is looking at how best do we recognise the unique circumstances that we're in post-pandemic and support clubs to come out that and to be as strong and sustainable as possible, as well as put the resources on the key priorities. So I think the right thing to do has been to use the reserves that are available to us to do that. How long we can keep doing that, I don't know. We did say the first year that we zeroed the club fees that we would be looking at this on a year-by-year basis, which is exactly what we've been doing. And as Ewan says, none of us have got the crystal ball. So, you know, the next time we are looking at setting out the budget, we'll be looking at everything in terms of what the profile of the expenditure has been against the budget agreed, and also, you know, where we think the pressures are going to be. I think the main thing is it's been the right thing to do, and it's been good to have that buffer, if you like, within the district to be able to make these decisions and do that and still be financially sustainable. Some might say there's a risk when we're only 4,000 above the 58, but of course the 58 policy for reserves was put in place on the basis that 58,000 would be enough for a rainy day. I just think none of us really imagined what some of these rainy days were going to look like at the point we took that decision. So thanks for raising it. It's a really good question. Now, did I see another hand up?
Well, I think Ranald Barry was asking what the Rotary GB&I fees would be, and I believe that they will propose £70 per person that will need to be approved at the annual business meeting.
That's correct. Ranald, does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks. It was just one of the club treasurers was asking me because he's trying to set his budget.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's a slight increase from 67.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if there aren't any more comments or questions.
Robin Wardhall, could I ask a question, please?
Yes, of course.
Can I ask, is the primary school quiz going ahead this year?
Kath, would you like to pick that one up?
Yes, there's information about the primary schools quiz on the district website, and it is going ahead. It's variable how it's going ahead because some clubs are not, or some local authorities will not allow non-school people into the schools. So it is variable at the moment. I had a very helpful conversation with some Elgin people last week who ran a virtual quiz, which was highly successful. And I'll put instructions for how that might be done onto the website over the weekend. Is that helpful, Robin?
Thanks very much, Kath. That's very helpful indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Kath. Alistair Farquhar, you've got your hand up. Twice in 1 week you've seen me as well. Lucky old you.
Okay.
Have you got a question for Ewan?
Very quick message. I don't get 1010 vision. So
okay.
Okay, Alistair, we'll try and sort that. I think we had a conversation. There's some difficulty. We'll try and sort that for you.
I tried to drop in the publicity person, but again, I don't know if it was picked up. So yeah, if you could, that would be great.
I'll see what I can do for you. If nothing else, I'll send on my copy.
Okay,
thanks, Alistair. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Alistair. It's a good point, actually, because in fact, we're going to use that as the main sort of communication to get information out from district. If anybody else is having difficulties, then do drop us a line and let us know, and we'll do what we can to resolve that. Thank you. Thanks, Alistair.
Okay. All right, is that it?
I think so, Ewan. I think I can't see any more hands. I mean, personally, I would grill you a little bit longer, but
well, fair enough.
Everybody's Everybody's
it's a nice,
pretty
it's a nice
kind this
sunny day.
morning.
So I'll propose a motion that council approves the draft District 1010 budget for 2022-23 next year, with the district dues reduced to 0, and our incoming district governor, Ken McLennan, will second this. So, Kath, do you want to address the voting?
Yeah, yes, okay, then we'll proceed to vote. This is the way we'll vote, if you don't mind, please. First of all, we'll take the club votes. As you know from earlier correspondence, only one voting delegate, please, from the club. And then the number of votes that your club has will be assigned to you. And then secondly, we'll take the vote of those of you who have personal votes. The people who have personal votes are past district governors and officers of the district, along with the team leaders. I shall ask for 3 things in the vote. That is, if you are for the vote, if you are against the vote, or if you wish to abstain. It is easier for us if you can use your hand on the reactions to show which one you're voting for when I call for each one. If you find that difficult, then physically put up your hand. So we'll proceed to the vote, and this is the vote for the proposed budget. So those of you who are representing your club and are in favour of accepting the budget, will you now show your acceptance by physically putting up your hand or putting your hand on the screen? Okay.
Sorry, I don't know how, where I don't see any hand on my screen.
And reactions.
Reactions, okay.
And then
right, I've got it.
Cool, good.
Sorry, I had never done it before.
Thank you, thanks Aileen. Okay, can you take your hands down, please? Let you go back to where you were. Can I see any of you who are voting for your club? Would you show?
Sorry, Kath, I would just hold on 1 second, because I've still got some hands already up.
Oh, have you? Sorry, I'm on screen 2, sorry.
Yeah, I just don't want to confuse the vote. So
yeah,
I'll just make sure that anybody.
John Glasgow, take your hand down, please.
I've done that for you, John. That's the kind of DG I am, John. I've taken your hand down. Okay, you can go now, Kath. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Maybe you voted on behalf of everybody, Heather. Okay, then. Can I now see a show of hands for club votes who are against the vote, the proposal? Okay, I see no hands against. Can I see any hands of those who wish to abstain? Okay, I see no hands. I now go to the second part of the vote, which is those of you who have a personal vote. Those of you in favour of the proposed budget, would you now show your hands if you have a vote? Okay, thank you. If you would take your hands down. Thank you very much. Anybody against the vote, would you now show your hand? I see nobody. And now those of you who wish to abstain. Okay, I see nobody. That vote then is unanimously passed. Thank you very much. Proceed to the second part of the vote on finance, and this is to do with the examining of our accounts, and the proposal proposed by myself and second by DGE Ken is that we yet again use MMG Chartered Accountants as the examining accountants. We have a good experience of them over a number of years. They examine the accounts promptly, and as you probably know, there's a limited amount of time between the accounts being finalised and the need for them to be put to the district council to be agreed. And MMG have always met our time limits. Can we also note that in the past, we've heard from people who are experienced with chartered accountants and the examining of accounts that the cost that MMG charged us previously of £930 was most reasonable for a organisation of our size and the amount of money going through the books. And also, District Treasurer Ewan has asked me to draw your attention to the fact that at the last time the books were examined, he asked MMG to reduce the cost to £600, which was £500 plus VAT. So before I call for a vote, is there anybody who would like to ask anything in relation to MMG or their appointment? Don't see anybody wanting to do that. So can we proceed? Do you see anybody, Heather?
Nope, nothing.
Nope. So can we proceed to the vote, same as we did the last time? This is the club votes first. Can you show if you are happy that we appoint MMG as examiners in the coming year? Thank you very much. Thank you. Will you take your hands down now?
Give it a second, Kath.
Yeah, see, Ian's just taking his down.
I've got one up here. Okay, you're good.
Thank you. That's great. Anybody who wishes from a club point of view to vote against that? Don't see anybody. And anybody from who wishes to abstain from this vote from the club point of view? Don't see anybody. Okay. Can we now go to the second part of the vote, which is those of you who have individual votes, those of you in favour of appointing MMG as examiners, please show your hand. Thank you very much. Those of you, could you take your hands down? Thank you. Heather, can you take down PDG Ron's hat? Thank you. And now those of you who are against, who have personal votes. Don't see any hands. And those of you who wish to abstain. Nobody. So that vote is also unanimously carried. Thank you very much, Heather.
Thanks, Kath, and thanks Ewan as well for all the work on the budget and also your chief negotiating skills on the auditing support, much appreciated too. Okay, so next item on the agenda is DGE. Ken McLennan is speaking to an update on the district plan for 2021 to 2024. Ken, I have had some kind of interesting feedback about the fact that you have a reference to 117 years in the district plan. I did have some jokey emails last night about that, so I don't know. I think people were getting a bit worried about how long they needed to commit to commit to Rotary. So I'll leave you to address that when you pick it up.
Absolutely. That's an easy one to pick up, Heather. This fabulous organisation has been in the go for 117 years, not necessarily in district. And I, for one, and I'm sure a lot of people on here would like to see it sustained for the next 117 years. And we've got to do our own thing to do that within 1010. So I'm not going to talk long on this. The paperwork are in the notes that Kath kindly sent out. I would just point out that we're focusing on, and really it's supported by the budget, on membership, public image, and youth. And the other one we put in there was obviously foundation, because with these three key elements, everything else is driven, whether it's in the community, whether it's in international, whatever else we do. If we don't have membership, we don't have public image. If we don't have public image, we don't have members. And if we don't look after youth, who are our future, then we've got nothing, and we need to look at that. And in terms of membership, it mentions in there, we need to obviously increase members. The district, since I joined, the district has dropped around 600 people. So we need to get people, but the key thing in there is we can get people, but we don't keep them. And I think our incoming president, Jennifer, mentioned we've got a revolving door. And so my encouragement, and Alistair Robb, our IPDG and membership, he says we need to be active and attractive, and clubs need to be that, so people will join and stay. And whatever we sell in the tin, that's what it needs to look like and feel like. And one of the things, somebody asked me, what should Rotary look like and feel like? And my answer to that's pretty simple. It's, don't ask a Rotarian, ask a prospective member, because they are our future. So part of that is, we've also been, over the last 4 or 5 years, we've got 4 new clubs, and they've been excellent in trying to keep some of the numbers up, and it's actually gained us 100 new members. But our numbers are still going down. So the key message is we do need more new clubs, and we're actively pursuing that. We've got one that's pretty well through the process for an online hub for 1010. And we'd conversations on how that could work just yesterday. And I think by end of next week, we'll have 16 prospective members in there. Another thing is the new clubs have got a great equity balance, a great diversity balance, and an average age, I'm going to be unkind here, 30 years younger than the average age of the district. They're into the 40s. So they are there. We will be pursuing that. And that's part of why we shaped the budget we did, looking after membership, public image and youth. And in public image, we've asked our incoming public image lead that he's 85% external facing, not internal facing. So we sell Rotary the best way we can. So that's the plan. There are finer details that will be coming out, that what we can do working together, and using our incoming president's theme, just imagine what we can really do for Rotary going forward. So there's the plan. I'm happy to take any comments on it, and I'll pass it back to you, Heather.
Thanks, Ken, much appreciated. Really clear, and yeah, a great update, great way forward. Anybody want to make comments or ask Ken any questions around that? Yeah, we've got Libby Elliott from How of Fife. Please unmute yourself, go ahead.
Yeah, hello, apologies if the dogs bark. Postman came just as I was doing the vote. One of the things, one of the things that I'm aware of, looking at everybody here, and no offence, but there's no youth here at all represented within this. Is that something that I'm missing, that they do something separate, or why are they not involved with what we're doing just today?
Youth are invited to everything, and that's something that I was saying, that how do we make things active and attractive for the future, so that that we can develop that for the future. And that's something I'm going to be looking at, particularly around the assembly in around 4 weeks' time, I think it is. That we'll be looking at youth and how we can expand that. And I'm particularly keen, when we talked of youth, right through from Rota Kids, and I like to see more Interact in district, and particularly more Rotaract in district, and how we can integrate them into everything we do. Does that help?
Absolutely. Do you think it's you're possibly better being face-to-face with them rather than online?
There's a combination of both with that, and it depends on the demographic we're speaking to on that, Libby. So there's certainly scope for face-to-face. And for example, I'm personally going down to Ryla, both to each of the weeks on Ryla, and speak to them and what we can do for the future. Perhaps even suggest that they have an online Rotaract coming out of that. So very much. So combination of face-to-face where it's best, and we just need to mix it up after that.
Yeah, I think it's something you need to do to be all-inclusive, though. It's just very aware of, there's a demographic on this meeting that I know I'm not the youngest one here, but I'm quite near it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it struck me. Thank you very much though.
Yeah.
Thanks, Libby. I think you're summarising a kind of general concern about the kind of demographics, but I think Ken's answered that in terms of, you know, what we're planning and also the active opportunities to get involved. I can see some younger faces on the call today actually as well, which is great. Now I'm having some IT difficulties, which means I've lost the list of who's got their hands up. So apologies if this is not in the right order, but Ron McHale had his hand up and so did Kath. And let me go and see if I can sort this out.
Okay, thanks, thanks, Chair. Ken, thanks for your paper. Obviously, it was well written. I wanted to ask a question on the enhanced participant engagement, where you've got offer new opportunities for personal and professional connection. You didn't include business, and I wondered what the reason for that was.
I've got a personal thing on, I agree we need to engage business as number one. I don't think we should be solely looking at business. If people are capable of and want to be a Rotarian, we shouldn't be turning them down. But business is one strand of that. Does that help?
I think if I wasn't a Rotarian and I was reading this, I would have liked to have seen business included.
Okay.
We used to often say, don't we, who are Rotarians? And I know it's not the same now, but it was professional and business people. That was just a comment. I mean, thank you. No. But thank you for your report. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Brian Glenrothes.
Thanks, Ken. I would just apologise to Bill Ross because I've not spoken to him about this. There's incoming foundation lead. I've been to training down in Birmingham last weekend. I noticed from in the section on foundation there's a number of items there that we want to encourage. I wonder whether we should be encouraging clubs to get more involved in projects. It appears to me that, you know, if you've got more clubs involved in projects, they're going to be more engaged with the whole idea of foundation, and they'll see the power of it. And when they see the power of it, then maybe the giving will come on the back of that.
Yeah. Okay.
But which comes first, really, the chicken or the egg? I understand you need money to do the projects, but if people are interested in doing projects, they'd see the benefit of trying to do something about the money.
Completely agree with that. And I think I'm not ignoring that whatsoever when I'm putting the plan together. I think that there are still elements in there for doing projects, for extending our reach, for expanding what we do. By putting membership and public image and growing our numbers, we've got more opportunity for doing that. So it's not ignoring it, it's how do we get the feedstock for making sure that's available and possible going forward. So absolutely not ignoring. And just mentioning foundation, I believe I've got an error in the paper when it says we've got 155 sustaining members in district. I'm assured we've got 230, but we'll share that and we can talk more about that in the future.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Ken. I seem to have everything up on the screen again, Ken. So I don't see any more questions or comments for you.
Yeah, Heather.
Oh, yeah, Robin.
Yeah, could I just mention, it's only a thought, I just wonder if our public image is sufficient or could be improved upon. Now, I can't make any comments on that, but I just wonder what Ken's thoughts are.
It's never good enough, whatever we do. And a big lesson I had before in business was I was asking one of our clients what we were doing well, and he said we were communicating well. And when I asked him what we could do better, he said, you can communicate better. So no matter how much we do, it's not enough. I think there's a lot of encouragement we need to do with the clubs and support the clubs on their public image. It's very difficult to get a district-wide or a GB&I-wide campaign for image. I think we've all got to have a go at improving our own public image and making sure our social media is right. And that's down to all of us. And that's why I'm saying the public image that I want to be 85% minimum external facing is support for clubs to help them do that, and for district to do that as well. And whatever we can do to engage, whatever media we can in the future. It's never enough, Robin.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks,
Yeah,
Heather.
thanks, Robin. Yeah, really good point, and that's why it remains a really key priority and one of our biggest opportunities and biggest challenges, as Ken says, all at the same time. So I don't see any more comments or questions for you then, Ken, on which basis I am going to suggest that we move on to the next agenda item. And thanks again, Ken, for that. That's much appreciated. So the next agenda item is in relation to district awards and a proposed different approach to district awards, which we started the conversation about at the last district council in September. And so we have an updated proposal based on feedback that we got at that district council meeting. So I'll now ask IPDG Alistair Robb to speak to that paper, please.
Thanks, Heather. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, this is in response to our last proposal at the District Council last year, and then also a couple of discussions. We've put together some new proposals for the District Awards. Hopefully you'll have read the paper. I'll go through very, very briefly what it is we intend to do. The awards will cover the various areas of focus that we have. So there'll be an award for the best new international project, and that will really be something that addresses one of Rotary's areas of focus. But we're looking for new projects, we're looking for innovation, and that's really the key word in what we're doing here is all about innovation. Similarly, with a new community project, something again that addresses at least one of Rotary's areas of focus. But these have to be new projects, they have to be something innovative and hopefully something that can be duplicated throughout the district. We're looking for clubs to share their ideas and be able to transpose an awful lot of these things into other clubs to make our service more effective in our communities. There would then be an award for the best new youth Rota Kids or Interact project, again showing innovation and imagination. The best foundation project, and that's an innovation in either promoting or fundraising for foundation or End Polio Now. Best club PR speaks for itself. It's been one of the most exciting awards for years now, looking at people's magazines. Some of the output from district has been great from clubs. But again, we want to look at new achievements in PR, going back to what Ken was just talking about and Robin brought up there a minute ago. We need clubs to find some new ways of getting the message out to the public, new ways to use Facebook and other social media, and really just which clubs out there are making the most effective use of their PR opportunities. We then go on to membership, and there are two awards around membership. And this is probably one of the most debated areas in the whole thing, because we have to recognise clubs who manage to recruit members. So as it is, after all, it's a numbers game. We need to get more members into Rotary. So there will be an award for the top increase in membership, the largest increase in members since the 1st of July last year. And then a second award, which will be innovation in recruitment. And that's looking at clubs that have showed some innovation, imagination, looked at some new ways of doing it. And again, hopefully things that are transferable to other clubs and that we can use throughout the district. And finally, and this is the one I think that was brought up at the District Council last year as being missed off the list. And it ties in again with our new £300 grants for clubs, and that is for the best new environmental project. So again, we're looking for an environmental project showing imagination, innovation in that area. That really is it as far as the district awards go. But it really is, as I say, it's all about pushing clubs to come up with fresh new ideas because that's the way as well we'll get new members. It is all about membership. And if we have new ideas, if we have exciting things going on in the clubs, then finding a different way to do Rotary, as they say, that hopefully will push us forward on membership and in other areas as well. So that's the proposal. Happy to take any questions, comments that anyone might have.
Alistair, thanks for that. PDG Jim Houston from Leven has his hand up. Jim, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries.
A couple of questions. One is, our club has 3 trophies from the last time the trophies were awarded. So I'm not sure if we want to keep them or do you want them back, because they're all engraved and so on. But that's one point. But the second point is, we're talking about the Rotary year, what's left of it coming up into June. Clubs have been in almost hibernation. So it seems that whilst it's very admirable having all these new trophies and looking at different areas for people to aspire to, or clubs to aspire to, you're going to have a very small bunch of candidates. Is it not better to perhaps say, we'll hold this and we'll start this again properly in 2020, in July 2022? That's just a...
But at the end of the day, Jim, it's probably not going to be my decision. I think DG Heather had hoped to do something at the district district conference as regards awards, because the other thing is that these are no longer being clubs are no longer putting themselves forward for these. It will be the AGs that will be making the proposals. Okay. So I mean, I would like to see us do something this year, because clubs, including your own, Jim, have done some fantastic things in this last year, even during lockdown, and I think that needs to be recognised. There's been an awful lot of great work going on even during lockdown, and it would be a shame not to see that recognised in some way. So
okay, appreciate that. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Alistair. And yeah.
Yep, thanks, Jim. So Bob Ellis has got his hand up.
Thanks, Heather. Firstly, my apologies when it came to, I lost my hand when it came to voting for Blair Gowrie as far as the budgets were concerned. So you can take it that we were approving both of those. But my question here, Alistair, is on all of the criteria and what have you, there will be obviously some clubs overlapping each awards, like for instance, community project, environment, they could go hand in hand. What would happen there?
I think, Bob, it's a great point, because there are so many things that we do as Rotarians that do cross over between youth and community and environment and all of these sort of things. So I would suggest that your AG would put forward the club for an award, and you know, we would certainly consider it in any of those categories or all of them, depending on what the main focus of it was.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Alistair.
Thanks, Bob. Andrew Argo from Dundee.
Thank you. Just a point of clarification, really, concerning the top increase in membership. Are we talking about a gross increase or a net increase?
It has to be a net increase from the 1st of July the previous year, Andrew. So it's whatever your figure is then compared to what your figure is now. So it's a net figure.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. And David, oh, sorry, is that you, Robin?
Yes.
Could you hold on? Could you hold on 2 seconds?
Yes, certainly.
I've got a wee queue, but I'll put you in it.
No problem. Okay,
okay, 2 seconds. Hold on. Thanks. David Fryer, please.
Thank you, Heather. I believe what we want to achieve, and we've all been battered the last couple of years by COVID, and we're not out of the woods yet. Here is an opportunity to get going. So I think if there's a message here, it's to everybody, to the clubs, to say, well, if you can get something started because you've got a good relationship with an environmental group, community group, or a school, just make a start. And it was Bill Ross, I'm certain, Bill, you reminded us of that wonderful comment that President Kennedy made years and years and years ago. When is the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Tomorrow. It wasn't Bill, it was a wordy comment just to throw back in. So let's use opportunity to take some small initiatives and just get going again. And it's all about getting engagement. And thank you. The new environmental theme here is just another way to help get that engagement, get interest, and I hope then an opportunity to build good relationships and membership.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David. Hilary?
Yes, thank you very much, Heather. So my question, it's not really a question, but it would be to be given more guidance on what is new. So it could be, an example could be that we've spent maybe a year trying to get something into place. When does it become new? Is it new at the start of the process or when you actually get it going? And the other thing could be that you have a project and you've gone in a slightly different direction. Does that then mean it becomes new?
I think what I'm trying to do at the moment, Hilary, and I knew you would give me something confusing. Thank you. What I'm trying to do at the moment is expand a wee bit on the definitions of these, so that by the time that the AGs get the final package to make their decisions, they'll have a far more detailed set of criteria, and obviously the clubs will get sight of that as well. So yeah, hopefully we'll iron all of those things out before it comes out to the clubs. The first year we may have to tweak things a wee bit, and it may be that the paper has to go around 2 or 3 people like yourself to pick out these wee anomalies before we get it 100% right. But we will work on it and get it right, Hilary, sorry.
Yeah, and I guess the beauty of doing it that way as well, Alistair, is that the AGs can be engaging and liaising with the clubs to get the kind of feedback and queries and points of clarification like the ones that you're raising as well, Hilary. So that's really helpful because it sort of gets us thinking about those things now. So yeah, fantastic. Now I'm going to come, there's a couple of things in the chat, but Robin, you wanted to come in as well?
Yes, Heather, and thank you. I just wondered, in the award situation, is whether this year particularly it might be worthwhile to have a special award for the clubs, to open to all clubs and districts in their support of Ukraine, and which the club that makes the biggest impact in the Ukraine assistance.
Yep, Robin, I think that's a really good suggestion, and let me pick up that point and go back to Jim's point from the beginning, because I just been clarifying with Ken what would be a good time to start the new awards that Alistair's been really helpfully developing the thinking about, and as Alistair said, you know, it kind of comes back to what would be a good thing to do. And Jim's saying, you know, it's been quite a difficult year for clubs. So just on that point, I've just been thinking with Ken that to give clubs time to get going again, but still to celebrate success, that rather than do something in and around the district conference, which is planned for June, and we'll talk about that later, that the thing to do might actually be to look to run the new approach to awards, so that we were celebrating success and putting those awards out at the September District Council, but in relation to the periods sort of really from now until then. So that I hope that kind of picks up Jim Houston's question. So it gives clubs more time to get going, but we're still celebrating success without too much of a gap, because it is challenging for clubs to do things. So just to share that thinking, and any comments or thoughts people have on that would be great. On your point, Robin, I'm going to take that away and have a wee think about it, because I think there's something about celebrating success in a kind of one-off basis that we might want to think about in the context of the conference. And your suggestion about Ukraine is great. Also, clubs that have really excelled in terms of the response to COVID's another thought that you've prompted with me. So thanks for putting that into the mix. And just to clarify that, those 2 points around timing. So So thank you for that, Robin. That's much appreciated. And Alistair, if it's okay, I don't know if you've seen them. There's a couple of points there in the chat. Jeff from Alloa was saying, you know, obviously if the membership awards for net increase in membership, we'll need to ensure we keep existing members alive. I'm hoping that more relates to retaining members than genuinely keeping members alive. And yeah, exactly. And as Ken's clarifying, we're not as bad as the figures would suggest. And you can see that happening in district just now, new members getting inducted and coming into clubs. It's the retention, as Alistair knows, as membership lead. And we lose most of the members that we bring in within the first 2 to 3 years. I reckon because we scare them off by giving them too much to do, or we don't engage them enough by giving them something that is actually relevant to their skills and that they want to get involved in. And then, you know, there is the whole kind of demographic challenge as well. And that may have been what you were alluding to, Jeff, as Libby says, that we are bringing in older members and we do lose members to higher service as a result of that. I get that as well. So yeah, so there's some really interesting views in the chat, and thanks everybody for their comments and their thoughts. Alistair, do you want to add anything to any of that, or are you content?
No, I'm happy now that we can go away. We put some more meat on the bones of this and issue it to AGs and clubs and take it forward from there.
Yeah, and also just to pick up, I just saw Mike Halley's comment as well. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what we're thinking, that we might have a bit of a transition, Mike, where we're not really running anything proper, if you like, from July, but we might road test the new awards to the September District Council, but we'll have a look at that, because I know what you're suggesting is that clubs get a full year to really kind of be demonstrating what they've done and the contribution, given that it's been such a difficult year post-COVID. So it's great to be getting so much engagement, everybody. So thanks so much for that. And Alistair, thanks for all the work that you've done on that paper. I know it's been a lot of work, and it's been really good to be able to take on board the feedback coming from the last District Council and also in the interim. So many thanks for that. So if people are content that we move forward with the awards on that basis, then we'll progress that. Which brings us to the next agenda item, which is from District Secretary Kath on communications. Kath, can I hand over to you?
Thank you very much, Heather. I'd just like to pick up what Ken said earlier on about his working life, where one of his clients said that what his firm were doing well was communicating well, and then what can you do that's better? Well, you can communicate better. So our attempt just now is to communicate a little bit better between ourselves in the district and clubs, and between clubs and district. I think I've said on occasions before that sometimes we get to the stage where communications becomes noise, and where we stop looking at things because there isn't anything that we think that would interest us. So my paper, and I don't intend to go through it in detail, is a step towards trying to get our communications even better than they are now. So the main things from this are as follows. First of all, the use of 1010 vision, which Heather has mentioned already this morning in a number of contexts. We send that out every month. It's sent out regularly. It comes into your box probably just after midnight between the 14th and 15th of the month, which is terrific. And I hope that it's useful to you. But what we do know is that around about half of the people who are subscribed to it look at it. We don't know to what extent they look at it. We know they open it, but we know that around another 50% don't. So we need to make that continue to make that into an interesting document, that people are interested in. So we will use that mostly with our communications, although we'll continue to use the data management system for opportunities such as the district council, where papers are sent out or where we need to send something urgently. In the past, some people have some clubs have used DMS to talk about their projects or to attract fundraising from other clubs. But we really hope that you will use 1010 Vision to do that. You'll get a wider readership, because even if only 50% look at it, with DMS in general terms, it's sent to the president, the secretary and the executive secretary. Can I just say for a moment, it would be very useful in your club, if you don't already have an executive secretary, to put someone into that job who is not already an officer on DMS, because that just widens the number of people who get things. So that's just an aside on that. So that's the main ways of doing things. The other thing that we hope to do in the near future is to ensure that the website is a repository of knowledge. Now, websites to some extent are old-fashioned, we know that, and they're only as up-to-date as what we put on it before. So we're going to make every attempt to get it up to date, so that in due course, that would be your first place of call to look and see for information, such as, for example, primary schools quiz and a whole variety of other things. The social media again is very useful, but as DGE Ken was saying, in the future, we hope that that will be, and public image in general will be 85% outward facing. And I hope that we can continue to engage you with these events and meetings, such as the District Council, which is the club's opportunity to come together to discuss issues and to take things forward. So all we're doing is tinkering a little bit with the way that we communicate currently, but the main idea from all this is to remove the noise aspect. In other words, what we don't want you to do is that the first thing you do when you get a communication from us in district is to put it in the bin. We would like you to read it first, even if you bin it afterwards, though we probably prefer you wouldn't. And similarly, we want to get feedback from clubs. So that's just an outline of what we will continue to do, I hope, in the coming year. So Heather, thank you very much for the time, just to say a few quick words. I'm happy to take any questions if anybody wants to ask anything.
Thanks, Kath. Just ask people to put their hands up, their electronic hands up, as you have been so brilliantly doing. And I think you've got John Glassgooding from West Hill first, Kath. John?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you're trying to do your best, but the problem of information overload is a bit ridiculous. I mean, as club secretary on Tuesday, I put out 9 emails to all members of our club, including 12 attachments, 7 of which related to this meeting. I also had 7 other emails to other individual members of the club. And I think the whole thing is that if you're sending out 9 emails a day to club members, it's very difficult for them to either read them all or appreciate which are the key and important ones.
Thank you, John. Rather than take up too much time at this meeting, I'd be really very interested to discuss this with you, because I'd like to know where other things are coming from, so that we can try and trim them down, just as we said earlier on. So rather than have a sort of one-to-one just now, because time's getting on, I'll get in touch with you during the week and we can have a chat, if that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, a large part of what we're doing, other than just what's coming down from district, which is some of it, is, you know, organising our attendance at meetings, because since we've gone back to in-person meetings, we've found the percentage of people attending, although our membership's gone up, the percentage attending has gone down, and the hotel are getting very picky about you know, charging us for the number we see rather than the number who actually turn up.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I'm not going to say stop having meetings.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it's a really fair point, isn't it, John? And you've got to watch about the kind of cumulative impact. I think from the district team's perspective and from Kath's perspective, you know, we only in practice really have control over what we are issuing to clubs. And I guess that's the bit that we're trying to streamline in recognition of exactly the point that you're making, which is you'll have your own engagement and communications that you need to get out to your club as well. And I guess for all of us, it's looking at all of these levels about how we can be smarter about communication. So thanks for that. And I know that Kath will follow up with you as she's offered to do, to see if there's anything that we can do from the district perspective as part of our new strategy. Ron McHale, please.
Thanks, Heather. It was just really to do with the 1010 vision, which I kind of appreciate. It's a very good sort of document, and it does come into my sort of email box and I read it. But from a sort of Rotary shoebox perspective, you might be surprised how many sort of phone calls or emails that I receive as to what is the kind of arrangements for the for taking the shoeboxes to the various sort of depots. So people, so my comment is, I don't think everybody's reading the vision in the way that you would like it to be done. That isn't happening. And the other point I'd like just a comment on is to do with the website, because for ordering shoeboxes, the information is on the website. But when I submit sort of details, it doesn't always appear on the website. And the question is, how am I able to get stuff onto the website? Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. I mean, the answer to that at the present moment is, if you want it on the website, get in touch with me and I'll organise it for you. The problem is a cultural one just at the moment, generally speaking, which is that the website is not always up to date, and therefore people, rather than look at the website first, they'll write to you or me or somebody else first. So what we need to do is create a culture where 99 times out of 100, the information is there on a website. So we're working hard on that, and thank you very much, because I know that the shoeboxes is very popular, and we put out extra emails about them. So we'll all work hard together, Ron, with your help, to try on shoeboxes and other issues. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to say thank you to you, Kath, because I feel that if it wasn't for the occasional email that you send out, people would still be at a loss as to what are the details for the shoeboxes. Can I just make a comment about the vision? If I recollect correctly, the vision, in fact, you have to sort of scroll through page by page to find out what you want to see. You're either going to read it all or you're going to look for specific information. Is there any way that you can have a kind of an opening sort of page that would provide you with this sort of information? If you want to know what the district governor is saying, or the DGE, or whether it's to do with the kind of whichever committee and so on, including, obviously, under international, the Rotary shoeboxes, you could just click on that box. But I mean, the vision is excellent, and the fact that it goes, I don't know if it goes to every Rotarian, but I thought it does. I think it does. I have to just say I have kind of difficulties. But Kath, and thanks very much, and so yeah, that's it, Heather. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. I'm beginning to think that Kath has sent you some cash in a brown envelope, because you are definitely setting her up for the things that she's most passionate about, which are the website being the one place which is the accurate, up-to-date repository of all of the information that any of us could ever want about district, and also that one of the ways that we might want to look at developing vision in future is exactly what you're suggesting, that we have the links where we click through, and that's in the paper. So you have, I don't know if it was inadvertent or planned in advance, but you have played the straight man to Kath really well there, and you appreciated her, so we all appreciate her, so thanks for coming on. Kath, do you want to add to that? I know you agree with it all, I just know it.
Just to say it was worth the money to send to Ron.
Okay, it's a bit like when the chairman of the football club says a manager that we have is the best manager you could ever get, and next week he gets his P45. Sorry, Kath, I didn't mean that. That's not the.
Oh, thanks, Ron, and yeah, no, thanks for that. I mean, I'm really loath to interrupt the living, but Alison has a question, and then Gordon at Aberdeen Balgownie. So you first, Alison, please.
Yes, thanks, Heather. Kath, can you tell me if all the glitches in DMS have been ironed out? Because you know, very often I get emails from people wanting stuff from the shop, and they've tried me through DMS and can't get me.
I can't answer that, Alison, I'm sorry. As far as I'm aware, it's working okay, but leave it with me and I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it might also be worth saying that there is a sort of general overhaul happening of DMS, because I think, you know, people, it has probably pretty much kind of run its course, and to get something that is much more user friendly. But clearly we've got what we've got in the meantime, and Kath will be happy, I think, to look at any particular issues that we've got and to raise them with the team, the support team. So thanks for that, Alison.
Okay, thanks.
Cheers. So over to you then, Gordon.
Yeah, just to pick up on a couple of the last points. No criticism of Kath, but I had a query for her regarding the primary school quiz. On the members area of the 1010 website were the questions and the guidance for clubs. And I was looking for the guidance for schools, which I know have been done in previous years. And emailed Kath and says, oh, it's in the public area. So even that sort of joint items were in two different areas of the website. And I think also what Ron's saying, a lot of this stuff on 1010 sometimes is a bit disjointed. And maybe I think he's maybe suggesting an index page for 1010, but even just an initial send out, when, say, the primary school quiz, look, this pointed to the exact part of the website for a 1010 to go to, rather than, because you do get a bit fed up, and I think DMS is another example of that as well. You get lost in the mire.
I think it's the mire that we're trying to kind of do our best to resolve within what's in our sphere of control is probably the response for that one. Kath, do you want to add anything to Gordon's comments?
I'm sorry, it's so complicated. The rules for the schools are public. The rules for the clubs are private. So that's why they were in different places.
Okay, thanks for that specific clarification. Sorry about the workman out the back here. Okay, so I don't have any more questions or comments for Kath. I seem to get a sense that the direction of travel was the right one, even if that might mean that, you know, you might ideally want us to be going further and faster if that becomes an option in the near future. If anybody is of a different opinion, then please let me know just now. Other than that, 2 seconds, I'm going to shut this door. The joys of technology and online meetings. But other than that, I think I'll move on then to the next agenda item. And thanks, Kath, you've put an incredible amount of work into that paper and the proposal, and also just keeping the communication show overall on the road within the district. So thank you for that, it's much appreciated. So the next agenda item then takes us on to Expo 2022. So we have Brian Stoyle joining us this morning. He may well be known to many of you. For those of you who don't know Brian, he was RI Director 2017 to 2019, and he's a former President of Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland 2003 to 2004, amongst various other Rotary related roles that he has held over the years. But Brian's here this morning to talk to us specifically about Expo 2022, which is taking place in May in Birmingham. Brian, hopefully you can hear me just now. And
I can.
I'll hand over to you then. And you're very welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Heather. And thank you to District 1010. It's lovely to see so many familiar faces there again. And also, must I say, it's a very interesting meeting that you had this morning, and so much sort of cooperation and communication going on there. So it's really great. So great. But not to take you any longer, can I open with the Expo video, please? Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And if we have the first presentation slide, that'd be great. Yes, it is. Expo is now with us live. And I think that's something that we've all been looking forward to for a long time. There's a great strong emphasis on face-to-face, connecting communities, and of course, volunteering. The next slide, please. Yes, so Birmingham it is, 6th to the 7th of May, 2022. Friday and Saturday with the foundation on the Sunday morning. This is one of the UK's largest state-of-the-art amenities, and it's in full flow, so we have no hesitation there. Next slide, please. Connecting communities is what it's all about. A tremendous amount has changed between 2020 and 2021. Our communities are very different places, as you all know, to what they were. The COVID-19 pandemic kept us physically apart, but in so many ways, like this morning, united us and brought us much closer together. Here in the Southwest, the sun is shining, and I trust it's like a spring day where you're as well. So we return to our original face-to-face event. We want the show to harness and celebrate that sense of connecting communities and uniting everyone. So community spirit is at the heart, and it's always been at the heart of what Rotary is all about. So again, we hope that everyone in 1010 will join us. Next slide, please. The show will continue to help volunteers and charities connect with one another. Volunteering, as we all know, has had a huge impact during the pandemic, with many people keen to continue supporting causes close to their heart by giving their time and talents. Rather than focusing solely on volunteering, we're broadening the content of the show to encompass more of the elements of society which brings us all together: sport, youth organisations, community schemes, and more. And the programme is very much ongoing, including speakers, workshops, and the large exhibition area, and of course, on-site activities. Next slide, please. Nothing can replace the live event, and a lot of us have enjoyed the benefits of virtual events, but again, shaking hands perhaps, saying hello to each other face to face. There's nothing like bringing that extra energy into the room when you see somebody else. And at this point of the programme, as I say, it's being finalised, but we have an exhibition. A lot of familiar faces there, signed up already and joining us for 2022. But we want to bring a diverse section to browse and meet with. Face-to-face networking, meeting, engaging, and planning with people in person is the real benefit of live events. The perfect way to make connections and take ideas back to your club and your community. And of course, building on the exciting program that we had last year, when it was a virtual event, we're creating a program of big name speakers, covering all the caring sectors of organisation that you so much actively want to work with. And again, the Rotary Action Summit, taking place on the Sunday from 10 until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The full programme is still being revised, but at a cost of £55, you'll have a full day. That gives you the event and, of course, a packed lunch as well. So again, watch that because details have just been released. Next slide, please. The speakers, we have Hannah Ingram-Moore, Ben Cohen, and Jennifer Jones. And interestingly enough, Ben Cohen, I've always followed rugby and never realised that why Ben had this stand-up foundation until I read quite recently that his father was killed standing up for somebody in the workplace. So again, we learned something more about all these people as well. And if any of you are fans of Holby City, we have actor, writer, and mental health advocate, Kizzy Kudu. So I'm sure there's plenty there for everyone to see. And of course, there's more as well. John Hugo will be there, Jennifer Jones, as it says, Olga from last year. So who knows who's going to be there, but plenty of people to keep you occupied. Next slide, please. This is a very important element of always what we do, is the workshops. Our areas of focus are there, but you'll be able to take part in a range of live and interactive workshops hosted by exhibiting charities. Full details of the workshops are available online on the website, of course, along with all the other details as well. And of course, these workshops are free and available. So make sure you register early because some of them will perhaps be restricted. Next slide, please. Exhibitors, we have 60 odd exhibitors already. But more importantly, what I'd like to draw here, you have people that you think could perhaps benefit from a wider audience. Please let us know who those people are. So ranging from local, international and national charities, but it's your home-based charities what we also want to see. Rotary very much in evidence. A Rotary village right in the centre of the exhibition with all the famous things, shoebox, water box, all those things will be there, I'm sure, producing interesting comments. And as you say, Ukraine, of course, will be one of the focal points of speaking to everyone. Next slide, please. The next 4 slides are taken from what people have said to us over the time. So 91% rated it is very good. They joined us, had a great time, and we want more Rotarians to experience that as we go live in 2022. 96% said volunteering is important to aid UK's COVID recovery, and they will stay, hopefully, volunteering. And 3 in 5 people who didn't vote, haven't sort of volunteered beforehand, say they now plan to decrease. So again, that is a good incentive for them to join Rotary. You can, your club, your district, can always show them what you do and attract them to join you. Next slide, please. Some people said here, the place was a great place to visit as a Rotarian. Being community leaders, we're at the forefront of everything that is relevant. So come along and learn more things and take, again, those ideas back to your clubs. Organisation is really important in making visitors feel home. And last year, we were on the ball throughout. We had a very good team behind us, and we have that same team behind us this year. So we're confident that it will be an engaging and interesting weekend. The last point there, the concept is one which has really resonated. Although the idea was conceived well before the pandemic, its relevance has only increased as a result. Next slide, please. We're committed to taking on board everything that was said in the constructive feedback. And again, having more Rotary involvement was one of those things there. I think if I can explain that, if we put up on the top there, Rotary Volunteer Expo, who would come to it? We'd only attract probably Rotarians, but leaving that Rotary name off there means that's for me. I can join that, although I'm not a Rotary. But of course, Rotary will be obvious to them once they enter into that building. So again, Rotary is at the front of everything that we do. So again, the address is at the bottom there. If you have that small charity near you that you support and you'd like to make them a bit bigger, get them to send the details to there, and then we will see what we can do to help them to have a space at Expo. Next slide, please. So we've got the Rotary exhibitors showcasing the best of the projects and service. Can we have the next slide, please? And of course, we go on to the Rotary Champions Award. That is again a ceremony celebrating unsung heroes from around the country. Rotary youth competitions will be very much shown. And of course, the membership hub, as already mentioned there, that will be there to attract people to join Rotary. Experience Birmingham. Birmingham is the centre for travel links by rail, road and air, and located in the heart of the country. It is a lively, connected and diverse city. So experience Birmingham and Expo on that 6th and 7th of May. And again, next slide, please. And of course, in this modern day and age, we have to very carefully think of your safety and security. As I said at the very beginning, the NEC is up and running. They have best practice all the way through their organizations. So whatever the day brings to us, whatever new regulations come into play, we can always change. But again, rest assured, safety and security of yourself, your friends, your family is paramount to us. And the next slide, please. So please register now. we look forward to seeing you there. The 6th and 7th of May for Expo, the 8th of May for the Action Summit. And of course, this presentation is available via Kath for you to take back to your club. Please show it to them and get them to come along. Yes, registration is free, so don't worry about that. All you're going to do is register. And so far, the number of registrants is something like 2,500. So we're well underway to get a very good response there. And that includes children as well. The only thing that we had to cut back this year was on the Friday. We were hoping to have a children's full day, but with the education authorities that we spoke to, they advised against that this year. So look forward to seeing you, Birmingham, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of May, only a few weeks away, but please register now. Thanks very much, Heather, and I look forward to hearing from you. If anybody's got any questions, I will do my best to answer them, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian. That's great. I thought you weren't going to mention that registration was free, but you got it in right at the end there. So, but yeah, it's a full weekend, isn't it? Because you've got the foundation dinner on the Friday, you've got the Friday and the Saturday, and then the Action Summit, which others may know as a Rotary Institute, but quite a different approach to that on the Sunday.
That's
and of
right.
course we got Gordon McAnally and Jennifer Jones at that, and quite restricted numbers. So that's quite an intimate, unusual type experience to be able to really get into kind of planning for Rotary. I think the timing's great as well, isn't it? For just kind of being inspired and influenced again by sort of different project ideas and partners. So yes, great to have you on talking to us about that this morning. Are there any questions for Brian, or are you all too busy online registering? Because we do like a bargain as Rotarians, don't we? Brian said free, and now everybody's like online. Expo 2022. Fantastic. Well, I don't see any questions or comments for you, Brian, but that may well be because the presentation was so comprehensive. Oh, no, here's Scott's got his hand up. Scott, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to raise it, and I don't like sounding negative, but for me, or for anyone from this area, the cost of traveling to Birmingham and staying in Birmingham for at least 2 nights is quite a lot of money. And I think in this year, as people are finding less money to spend, if it was a question of going for a long family weekend or going to Expo, I'm afraid that the money would go on the family weekend. Quite apart from the fact that I can't go because it clashes with a business commitment.
Yes. No, you're quite right there. It is one of those choices that we make. We are Rotarians and we try to support wherever we can. So again, it's only once a year that we ask them all to come together, and this is what we're looking forward to. Yes, I think that the registration is free, and yes, the other dinners you do have to pay for. But at the end of the day, if you want Rotary to be a family unit, I think it's good for us all to be in that room together, shake hands, as I said, and see each other, and cross-fertilize all our ideas. And that's the only way that we can do it actively. So thank you. Yes, your points are very much noted. Thank you very much, Rob.
Yeah, points well made, Scott, absolutely. And it's an opportunity that's there for us to choose to take or not take. I think the important thing is just being aware that it's there as one of the things that we might want to look at doing as to support as Rotarians. So thanks for that. And of course, last year there was huge attendance at the online expo, which I attended, which was entirely free, which was great. And I don't know actually, Brian, there's a question. Is there any intent to make any of the content available online following this year, even though the intention's to have it face to face?
No, there's not. No,
Okay.
we are committed to having a face to face this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Brian? No, well, look, Brian, thank you again for taking the time to come and speak to us about that, and just to make sure that people have got an awareness of that. As you said, the presentation's there for people to take away if they want. They can get access to that, talk to their club members about it, have another look at it at their leisure. I know poor James got flung out of the meeting, so he he'll at least get the chance to see the presentation.
All right.
Um,
Well, I hope your year goes on as successful as you've had a meeting this morning. Thank you
Oh,
very much.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you being here. Thanks, Brian. You're very welcome to stay on. I'll leave that up to you. But
I will
thank you
be
so much
leaving.
for your contribution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so back to you then, DGE Ken. We are on to Treacly.
So what I want to do first is share about a 5-minute video on what is Treacly. And it's really, and the environment came in as one of our avenues this year, and a key and important part of what we do. What I'd like, and it inspired me to say, we can do something for the environment while doing something for ourselves. And maybe create a little bit of a challenge. So let me share the video first of all. I'm going to stop sharing it there. So yeah, a huge opportunity for us. One, to get ourselves in better health. 5,000 steps a day is nothing. I hate to think what, Heather, you're doing. I've enlisted a Monroe bagger who's doing 20,000 a day on all of this. But it's also creating employment as well as saving the planet. I want to share one other thing in terms of a little competition that's been going on. And I'm really sorry, but the Treacly app's been down since last night. So we need to get it back on, but I'm going to just share this very quickly. Currently in GB&I, there are 1,500, nearly 1,600 clubs participating and planting mangroves. And in this district, Afford's leading the way for some reason. Well done. 12 users, 6 million trees, 6 million steps, and 14,000 average steps. Hythe Valley, well done. 25 members and 6.5 million steps. I managed to get Forrest's number because I'm in there. So Forrest are actually claiming the lead because we are doing 14,400 steps a day on average. This is all available on the app, and the app will come back up. It's down for just now. Huge opportunity, one for the planet, one for ourselves, and a little bit of competition thrown in as well. So I'm going to stop sharing there. Encourage people to sign up. It's very simple. There's an app you can download to your phone. Tie it in with the steps you run, whether it's on a Fitbit or it's on your phone or whatever. And the link for joining is your club number. I think it's a 5-digit club number. And that's it. If there's any questions, happy to take it. If not, Heather, it's back to you.
Thank you. I just want to say to the president of Burnt Island and Kinghorn, Dave Kelly, that I'm the only Burnt Island and Kinghorn member on, so I need some help here. We've missed out in the league table despite my best efforts. Oh, wait a minute, Alan's saying in the chat, he was 9th in the last league table. Oh, well, need to get going again then, Alan. Libby Elliott of How Fife's got a comment or a question for you. Libby?
Yeah, sorry, I'd missed the whereabouts the mangrove is, but I downloaded the app when you were talking, and it's Madagascar, so I've picked up on that. On a side note, I was up in Dundregan at Trees for Life, planting, rewilding the Caledonian forest 2 weekends back. I would recommend that to absolutely anybody. That's our own way of rewilding, and fantastic project if you're ever up sort of Inverness way, or if you're local to that. I'm sure some of you know about it anyway.
Yeah, thanks, and you're absolutely right. This is a free way of doing it, and the clubs can still participate planting their own trees. My own club planted 70 this past week or so. Chris Pearson.
Hey there. Would it be possible for the video that you've just shown to be shared with clubs so that we can actually show it to our club members, please?
Absolutely. You can also look on Rotary Treacly and it'll pop up. But we'll send it on.
Thank you.
And Jim Houston.
Off mute. There's also the Queen's Canopy green canopy, working with the Woodland Trust, and I think our club has got 350 trees, saplings, which we've been planting with Rotary kids at a big country park. So there's, and that didn't cost it was free as well. So that's another area. It may be too late now for the canopy. I think maybe applications should have been a while ago, but there's plenty of opportunities for us to double up and triple up on this sort of exercise.
Absolutely, and it just gets the awareness out, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But doing this also gets her 5,000. My wife's like me, because she's saying she's doing about 12 or 14,000 steps a day, so she's needing me to double up and plant more trees as well. So there you go.
Yeah. And quite a lot of clubs have been involved with the Queen's Green Canopy, and I know, like, you know, I've been promoting that when I've been out, and Malcolm has as well as our environment lead. You're right, Jim, that's been a really popular one as well. Christopher Pearson from Thurso, you had your hand up, it's gone down again. Do you still have a comment or a question?
No, sorry, I just realised I'd left a hand up from a previous comment, so I've taken it down.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Well, I don't see any more hands up for comments or questions. I suspect because we're rolling around towards 12, apart from lack of rather than lack of interest, Ken. But yeah, we could put the link to the video in the notes of the meeting, might be the thing to do. And yep, and we've got Brian's presentation to put out as well. So yeah, unless there's anything else, then I think we'll leave that there. I mean, I really agree with you, Ken. I think it's a great way to kind of, you know, do something as kind of team district 1010. Oh, Barry from Blackburn and District, you've got a question?
Yeah, the OVO electric company, they said that they were being, well, to participate in supply of tree supplies, but they were making 2,000 people redundant. Does anyone have an update of where they're placed at the moment?
So I don't, I'm sorry, I don't know if anyone else has. If they could put it in the chat box if they have, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks for raising that. Don't see anything popping up in the chat, but we'll all be Googling when we go off. Oh yeah, that's good. Alistair and Linda saying it's one they'll be pushing in their club. In fact, I think we talked about that when I was up at your club as well. So it's good to know it's getting some interest. Fantastic. Right, thanks, Ken. That's really much appreciated, and we'll get the resources out so people can follow up and have those discussions at club level as well, and hopefully get some interest going. I'm going to change your name to Competitive Ken, though. So you love a league table, don't you? Just love a league table. Ken hasn't shared with you that, you know, he's kind of set us up, you know, as Scotland to completely annihilate the rest of Rotary Great Britain and Ireland. That's how competitive he is, and he's particularly competitive with Ireland. We're a bit concerned that they're giving the club link out to their local post men and women. But we'll clamp down on that if it turns out there's any truth in that. Although, interesting enough, you can give your club link to friends and family, so if they happen to be post people. Anyway, moving on in view of time. So thanks, Ken. So conference 2022, that's me. Conscious of time, but just a reminder that the district conference is on Saturday the 18th of June. It's at the Rothes Halls in Glenrothes. I really hope that you'll come and join me there. I have to confess to being a little bit reticent about having a face-to-face conference because I'm a little bit worried about the numbers that we might get. All precautions will be taken to keep everybody safe. It is our first face-to-face opportunity at a district conference for some time now. I'd really love to see as many of you there as possible. We will be making some of the sessions available online, and we'll probably record all of it. However, a bit like as Brian was saying about Expo, the value is in the experience of being there. So there'll be a meet and greet, informal networking in and around the House of Friendship on the Friday evening, the 17th, with potentially a big surprise speaker there to draw you in if people want to be there the night before. The main conference will be on Saturday. Lots of opportunities to showcase what clubs are doing, big international speaker on membership. We'll have the Rotary International Director as well, Nikki Scott, there joining us too. So lots of ideas I'm hoping to take away from that. The programme will be coming out shortly with the registration. A bit of music and entertainment thrown in, and then Gordon McAnally's agreed to speak as our after dinner speaker on the Saturday evening as well, which will also incorporate the handover from Ken and I, which we'll try and make as entertaining as possible. Might even try and build in some kind of treacly related exercise. I don't know. You just never know what you're going to see. And then we'll have some social activities, possibly a ceilidh or something on the Saturday night as well. So it'd be great to see as many of you as possible in person. So that's probably all I wanted to say. A couple of people have unmuted. Do you guys, have you got comments or questions for me, or are you just...
You should get some treadmills from your local gym and have them...
Oh, at the conference?
At the conference, and that would, and maybe have a little competition there as well.
Yeah, treadmills with paramedics, is that the... just to be on the safe side. Yeah, I like that. I like that. It's like the sort of flip side of the treacly version of Rotary, right? Thanks, Jim. But I'll just take that as you confirming that you will be there, along with the riotous Leaving Club, who are notoriously famous for their enjoyment of district conferences. So don't let me down when it's on your doorstep.
I'll do my best. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for that. Okay, if there's not any comments or questions, I just really wanted to remind people of the date and encourage people to come along. So thank you for that. If you're not speaking, if you can mute, otherwise you'll keep flashing up randomly. Ken, I think for you to say something about the next conference, you don't get as long, so.
Okay.
Mine's is first. I want to get that out there.
I won't take so long. The big message is permanently we've moved conferences from October through to June. So the conference is going to be June 23. We've got one final thing just to finalise, whether it's going to be the 10th or 17th of June 23, and it's all going to be around Imagine Rotary. So there you go, there's the date, and we'll know more at the District Assembly on the 24th of April this year.
Yeah, thanks, Ken, and that's a really important date as well, isn't it, the 24th of April for District Assembly, if people can be taking that back in terms of feedback from today to their clubs. Now, thank you for that. I would have given you slightly longer, actually, to be fair. So I don't have any advance notice of any other business. I can't see Kath, but I'm sure she would give me a shout if there was anything. Martin from Ellen.
Yes, Heather, at the President-elect seminar, we had the wonderful video from Monica in Yugoslavia, who was directing refugee response for Ukraine. And we actually got links for donating money through her, which we as a club are currently using, and doing all our collections are going directly to her. Now, I haven't really seen much about that. I know there's a lot of recommendations about using the RGBI fund and so on, but I just wondered if there was any comments about the possibility that we know that it's going straight to the front line, exactly where it's needed through Monica, and it just, with no admin costs, it just seems a fantastic vehicle to use to us.
Ken, do you want to say something? Because I know you invited Monica and you've got that connection. Do you want to say something in response to Martin there? Thanks.
Well, there's a couple of things in there. Monica was fabulous, and the video is available. They're now all available online, and I can give you the links after if you want. It all goes direct. There's several ways of giving. You just need to be comfortable on what you're doing. They ask specifically for cash, because they can buy what they need and they know what's needed, because they're right on the border with Ukraine, and Monica herself has been down on the border. They were also asking for pharmaceuticals, but that's against very specific lists. Look at the video, decide what you want. There's things in there if people want to contribute as well. There's links for it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks,
we
Ken.
do know the donations that we got there. I mean, we got our response of the receipt within about 30 seconds of sending it. You know, it was unbelievable.
Very good.
On a Sunday night. Right.
That's
Thank you.
fantastic. Thanks, Martin. Celia, you're on mute, Celia. Hi.
Thanks. Sorry, just another little comment on Ukraine. 3 years ago, the Rotary Club of Alloa visited on one of our international trips the Rotary Club of Warsaw City. We are working with them directly, Warsaw City, together with a club in Germany, which is the Berlin Luftbrücke, which was the air bridge club, and Milan. So the 4 of our clubs are all sending money to Warsaw City. They have already sent a whole lorry load down to the back end of Ukraine, financing lorries. And we've had donations from various clubs around the district, and it's going directly to that club who are working on the ground. They're also physically sorting out donations. They're getting lorry loads of clothes and bedding and whatever, and somebody's got to sort it. They're doing that as well. And so there's no money going anywhere else. It's going directly to. So we've already had donations from various clubs around the district. So if anybody else wants to contribute, every penny is going to Warsaw City Rotary Club. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Celia. Alison, I'll take one more contribution, and then I've got something I just want to say about Ukraine to pull it together, because I sense there's a will to have a wider conversation about that. And what I would like to suggest is that the next DG drop-in, which is currently scheduled for the 6th of April, which I suggest I move because it's bang in the middle of the Easter holidays, get a date for that, and then facilitate a bit of a conversation where clubs can share what they're doing. And I've also got some good speakers who could come and make a contribution from other districts in the UK just to share experience, plus the guidance that I keep getting out to you. Alison? Alison?
You're on.
Just a reminder to everyone that the Rotary shop is still here and my cupboards are still full, and I've put my email address on the chat just in case anybody would like anything, and I shall send it to them very quickly.
Right, thanks, Alison. That's really helpful. Thank you. So, folks, I'm very conscious of time here. So I will thank everybody for their contributions today. Thanks for coming along. It's very much appreciated, and I will now bring the meeting to a close. I'm conscious we're starting to lose people already.